Hi, welcome to End Credit Reviews on episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews. It's just me again, Tyler this time, from End Credit Reviews. And this is my review on Halloween. And no, I'm not talking about the original from 1978 or the remake by Rob Zombie, but I'm talking about the new one that's out in this year, 2018. How come they couldn't just call this movie Halloween, I don't know, Halloween 40 years later? Or at least something that would distinguish it from the other movies. It's kind of the same problem I have with the new God of War video game. That video game is awesome and all, but it's not a remake or a reboot. Why you call it God of War? That just causes more confusion. They could just call it God of War 4 or something to kind of distinguish it from the other games. But I digress. Now, before I give my thoughts on this new movie, I should give my brief opinions on the other Halloween movies. So, the original from 1978 is a classic. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. Halloween 2 had its moments. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is misunderstood just because Michael Myers isn't in it. And if you haven't seen my editorial video on that movie, I highly recommend checking it out. 4, 5, and 6 are kind of like the Thorn trilogy, and that's kind of a mixed bag in a way. 20 years later, I also thought that was also a mixed bag, but I do prefer that one over any of the ones in the Thorn trilogy. Resurrection was just so bad because not only did they kill off Laurie Strode in the first act of that movie, but it was just a cringe fest seeing Buster Rhymes beat up Michael Myers. And then of course we had the Rob Zombie movies where every other character was very much either a white trash character or some, deviant who was like, oh yeah, I'm crazy in that, in Rob Zombie world, basically. I mean, I like Rob Zombie's music, I just do not think he is a good director whatsoever. The remake of that movie was like, oh yeah, too much of the same old stuff we've seen already. And then Halloween 2 was just a music video, and it felt like he was surrounded by a bunch of yes men with that movie. It was terrible. Halloween 2, the 2009 version, is without doubt the worst Halloween movie ever made. Alright, so enough of that, let's get talking about the new Halloween movie. In this one, taking place roughly 40 years after the events of the first movie, Michael Myers, played by at least a few other actors in this movie, one of them is James Jude Courtney and the other one is Nick Castle, and I'm assuming that they played Michael Myers in the original Halloween from 1978. So around Halloween time, about October 30th to October 31st, he is being transferred over to a new, prison or something, and of course he escapes and then goes on a murderous rampage. Now, the movie itself has been hyped a lot, with a lot of good press going around, and I was also happy knowing the fact that John Carpenter was involved with this one. However, one thing that kind of concerned me going into this was the fact that the director of the movie is David Gordon Green. This guy has directed a bunch of comedies such as The Pineapple Express and Your Highness, and I'm just sorry, but if you admit to actually liking those movies, you have unintentionally admitted to smoking weed and liking it. In the movie itself, we see the return of Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, and this time she is a shut-in paranoid woman who, of course, is stockpiled with guns and is prepared for anything, and I thought that was pretty cool. She also has a daughter, played by Judy Greer, named Karen, and she also has a granddaughter named Allison, played by Andy Machaki. I'm sorry about that, I botched up another last name here again, folks. And of course, she's trying to protect her family on Halloween night. I gotta say that this new Halloween movie is pretty good. Honestly, I think this Halloween movie is easily better than the majority of Halloween movies that we've seen in the past. I mean, yeah, there's nothing really stupid like Buster Rhymes beating up Michael Myers, or something like way out of left field like any of the Rob Zombie movies. The thing is, I thought that the directing, when it came to showing Michael Myers and him going on his killing, but also hearing the music cues, was pretty cool. However, I do feel like the cinematography, when it came to some of the dialogue scenes, I felt like the camera was just one step too close, and I felt like they should have just backed up just a tad bit, where it just felt a little, I know maybe they were trying to convey a sense of kind of making the scene look uncomfortable, but yeah, it was too close to me. Also, another problem I have with this movie is the fact that the character of Ellison has the boyfriend character that's there at this party, and we never hear or see from this guy ever again. I thought he was gonna maybe show up later or at least get killed by Michael Myers, but that doesn't happen. Another thing about this movie itself that I was kind of on the fence about was the whole thing of the use of comedy. Now, there really isn't too many funny things in the Halloween franchise. However, in this movie, there were some funny moments, and then at times I'm like, this is a horror movie, not necessarily a comedy. I mean, it wasn't really overflowing with comedy and one-liners like The Predator, but at times I'm like, you could have, cut that out and make a more serious movie. One thing that I found personally funny about this movie was the fact that there was a babysitter named Vicky. For those of you who probably watched Nickelodeon as a kid back in the 2000s, there was of course a babysitter named Vicky on the show The Fairly OddParents, so I just couldn't really get that image out of my mind. I did like the third act of the movie, and I should really talk about spoilers, so fast forward to this part if you don't want to be spoiled. Now, there is this doctor character who's all obsessed about Michael Myers to the point where he really wants to protect him, and I just love it when he gets his own kind of comeuppance by Michael Myers. It's just so graphic, and I was like, oh yeah, that's gotta hurt. But then also the ending I felt like was interesting source of plot twist. In a way, they're kind of repeating story beats or various moments from the original Halloween, but I felt like the ending in a way felt a tad bit abrupt. That's just my opinion on the matter. On one final note, I will say that Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie is really good. You can tell that she really understands this character. She has been known best for this role for about 40 years now, and I really like the fact that she is still acting. In fact, many people are probably unaware of the fact that her mother was in another slasher movie called Psycho. Yes, that's right, Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. Overall, I thought Halloween was very enjoyable and a pretty entertaining movie for what it's worth. It's definitely better than any of the Rob Zombie movies. It's definitely better than any of the Buster Rhymes nonsense or anything in the Thorn trilogy. I would definitely put this in kind of at least the top 5 of Halloween movies out there. So as for Halloween 2018, I would give it about 3 stars out of 4. So anyway, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of After the Credits on End Credit Reviews. I hope to make a lot more in the future. Please like and subscribe.